Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is me, Hammad Safi. I am here in Karachi. Basically, I had a visit of 5 days in Karachi, and I'm still in Karachi, and this is my last day here in Karachi. Basically, I was here for some programs and for some meetings with Islamic scholars and with other type of people. And Akhtar Yub Saab is managing all these programs here in Karachi as well, and we went to Hyderabad as well, where we participated in lots of programs and we met lots of people. And mashallah, the love and the respect I got and gained from the people of Karachi and the people of Hyderabad and basically the people of Sindh, that is truly amazing and that is truly lovely. So basically, I am today, this time I am sitting in Defense Area Karachi, and this is Mr. Junaid Ayub Khan, who is the son of Dr. Ayub Khan, who has spent his 13 years of his life in Canada. And basically, when he was 5 years old, so he went to Canada with his entire family, with his father, and he was there for 13 years. So he did his primary education from there, and I guess for higher education, then he came back to Pakistan. So we are their guests, and we have stayed here, I guess, almost for 3 days. And mashallah, the love and respect they gave us, that is truly amazing, and I really appreciate them, and I truly appreciate the love and the respect they gave us. And mashallah, the food we ate here and the time we spent with them, that was truly amazing. So basically, he's sitting with me, and so he spent his 13 years of his life in Canada. So I thought, why not to sit with him and talk to him about the difference between Pakistan and Canada. He has spent 5 years of his life in Pakistan, and then 13 years of his life in Canada, and then again for higher education he came back to Pakistan, and now he the fourth year student of MBBS. So he wants to become a doctor. So he's in the fourth year. He's doing his MBBS. I guess this is his last year, his final year.
It's my fourth year.
Okay, this is your fourth year. Okay. So basically, we would talk to him about the difference between the education system of Canada and Pakistan, the difference between the people of Canada and Pakistan, which will be our main topic. And these will be the things, inshallah, on which we'll be discussing about. Assalamu alaikum. How are you doing, Junaid?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very great. So first of all, thank you very much. We spent 3 days with you, and mashallah, the days we spent with you, that was truly amazing. Thank you so much for that. Jazakallah, Jazakallah. So my first question, I would like to come towards the topic directly. That you have spent, I said that 13 years of your life in Canada, right?
Basically,
So,
my whole childhood, yeah.
Okay, your entire childhood is there. So you have done your primary education from there as well.
Everything. Yeah.
So basically, first of all, my first question from you would be that what are the main differences you see between Pakistan and Canada?
In terms of education.
In terms of everything.
Okay.
We'll come towards these groups specifically.
Okay. So, honestly, there are probably an ocean of differences. It's not like you can count them on your fingers. There are many differences between Pakistan and Canada. And
Exactly.
in terms of politics, in terms of government, in terms of school, lifestyle, and just like teenager
Let's
life.
talk about education specifically.
Sure. So education. Well, one of the biggest things I would have to point out is that there is a common misconception that Pakistani education isn't great and that you should go outside to get your education. The truth is, both systems are great in their own respect, but like Pakistan does have a very advanced, I would say a more advanced education system in terms of O and A level than Canada. Because when I came here, I found it to be much harder.
Okay.
Whatever I was doing over here in grade 9, like that's what I did in grade 10 over there, and like just in the sense that like over here they're more academically focused. Their main focus in school is academics and nothing else. But like that's not always a good thing, because obviously academics are important. We all want our kids to grow up and become professionals, doctors, engineers, whatever professional lawyer. That's great, but it's important to realize that these years, these primary years, when you're in grade 1 to grade 5, primary school, middle school, high school, these are the years that shape the entire, as in like the entire personality of an individual. So like, I mean, if you're just focusing on making your priority the academics of the student and not shaping the personality, his character, how he deals with everyday situations, how he deals with extracurricular activities. Life is not all about education. That's the truth. We all know that. It's not all about education. you need to shape the child in every respect, every component of their life. It's absolutely essential. It shapes the type of individual, the type of adult, the type of professional that they're going to grow up to be.
So do you want to say that Pakistan's education system is better than Canada?
I wouldn't say one is better than the other, but I would say they're both, great on their own respects. But like I said before, in terms of like academics, Pakistan is much more, academically oriented, as in they focus on the core science, math subjects with the most, focus. Over there, you have many other, high school programs, other high school courses, such as, cooking, such as cooking, such as craft shop, and all types of stuff. Because they realize that not everybody over there is gonna go on to graduate to an Ivy League university, graduate from Harvard, get a degree in computer technology, or computer science. Computer science or medicine. There are some people who grew up in poverty. They don't have the resources to they have a family to look out for. They may not have a father. Many people who live in the slums of the city, their parents leave them when they're young. Their parents have been shot or maybe killed, so they have many other responsibilities. And sometimes it's important to realize that you need to be able to provide for them too. Some of them they don't always have the priority of becoming a doctor, engineer. Some of them just want to graduate, get a basic skill, and master that skill enough to make an income. And once they get their income flowing, they can move on to their higher education. I think, and that's just one of the things that I mentioned. You have a lot more diversity, a lot more range in high school over there. You take up to 40 different courses, and it teaches you all different skills of life, whether it's crafts, whether it's sports, and like I said before, cooking. So
that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So what do you want to say? Do you want to suggest the people of Pakistan to go and study abroad, or no? Do you want them to study in Pakistan?
Well, I think it all depends on your goal, right? Like I definitely do find that if you want to study science or mathematics or any of the more advanced technical subjects, Pakistan's the way to go. Study in Pakistan, do your own A levels, and graduate. And actually the Pakistani students, they tend to get into much better universities abroad too, as compared to the locals who live over there, because they're much more academically oriented. They have much more knowledge according to the technical subjects. But over there, I feel like growing up over there, a child, what they learn in school, the habits they learn in school, everything they learn in school, how they interact with other students. If they're bullying other students, teachers will intervene. They'll teach them, you're not supposed to do this. You're supposed to do it that way. You're not supposed to, steal from his lunchbox. You're supposed to have your own lunchbox. You're supposed to share.
Exactly.
They don't teach that over here. The truth is, over here, the only thing that they're focused on is, teaching the core subjects and getting their paycheck.
So,
everything else the child learns, they learn it from their outdoor, outside experiences, and that's good in a sense too. Children become much mature much earlier over here because they learn from their outside environment. But it's also important to realize that not everything you learn from your external environment outside of school is good for a child at that age. They need to develop their core habits, their core values, that what's right, what's wrong. Over here, children, they learn, they learn stuff on the street, all types of places, and they don't know whether it's right or wrong. They just see everybody else doing it, and they say this is the way to go. So I think it's much important to.
So you're trying to say that in Pakistan, people are only getting educated; they're not getting trained.
Exactly.
And
I mean, there are some exceptions. Don't get me wrong. There are some schools that do focus on the development and the personality development, character development of the child at a young age.
So what would you like to tell those people who are saying, the system of Pakistan and the education system of Pakistan is not great, teachers are not supporting their students, right? And as you said that they are not training their children, so what would you like to say about that?
Can you repeat the question one more time?
There are lots of people who complain that the system of Pakistan, the education system of Pakistan is not great. We must go abroad and we must study abroad, and going abroad may help us, to learn from their culture and to learn from their lifestyle and to learn from their norms and values. So what would you like to say about that?
Well, that depends, because many people who go abroad, they usually tend to go for university. And if you're going for university, I would have to say that going abroad is the way to go. Over there, you have much more opportunities. You have much more knowledgeable and much more skilled.
No opportunities in Pakistan.
I mean, there's a lot of potential. That's a problem. But after high school, I feel after A level, intern, metric, well, after high school, there's
Mm-hmm.
not much opportunities for students unless they have the money and the resources to afford
Okay.
some of the higher pay, the more expensive schools, right?
Mm.
So, I mean, and there are a lot of international programs that they
Okay.
provide, and for students who can't afford to pay for their higher education, scholarships, all that.
All right.
So I think it's important to avail every opportunity
Every
you get.
opportunity.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. So, basically, I have a question in my mind. Like I have met lots of people, who spend most of their time, in foreign countries,
Abroad, yeah.
like in abroad, right, in
Yeah.
UK or in Canada or in the United States of America. So whenever I meet them, and they always tell me one thing, the higher education of Pakistan is better than any other country in the world. The higher education of Pakistan is better than any other country in the world. So what would you like to say about that?
I mean, yeah, like I said before, I agree with that, right? Uh, in terms of the technical subjects, science, chemistry, math, all the you learn. It's much more advanced over here, in my opinion, because
Okay.
I've been through both of them, right? Like I've studied in high school in Canada, and I've studied in high school over here.
Okay.
And I won't lie. Like when I came here, it was a big jump. It was a huge jump. It wasn't easy getting settled into the education system over here.
All right.
And like in a sense, it was good because it pushed me to work harder. And, go outside my comfort zone
Okay.
and really excel in whatever I'm doing.
Okay, that's great. That's
Yeah.
great. So now let's come to the other topic. Let's
Yeah.
talk about the people of Canada and the people of Pakistan. So, what do you think that are the people of Pakistan better than the people of Canada? Or no, they are better than us.
Like I said with my previous answer,
Mhm.
and which I'll say in most of my answers, I don't feel that one is better than the other. I feel like both populations, both countries, both cultures, both lifestyles have their goods and bads, their pros and cons. And do you want me to list some differences between the two, or
Yeah, you may go ahead, but
okay?
except for the cultural values, our culture is very different
Okay.
than them.
So, like, first things first, if you're talking about the government, if you're talking about the overall system over there, how things work, the law, the justice system, the government, I mean, I think 9 out of 10 people will agree that, Canada is much better than Pakistan. I think many other countries in the world are much better than Pakistan in terms of their
Yes.
legal system, in terms of their justice
Definitely.
system.
Mhm.
So that's one thing that, is much better.
So you find Canada more beautiful than Pakistan?
Beautiful,
In terms of many things, like in terms of their natural beauty, and in terms of their
no,
people.
I'm just speaking about government right now. I'm just speaking about the
Okay.
government justice system. That's one thing that's definitely needs work in
That's
Pakistan.
better than Pakistan.
Yeah,
Okay.
Pakistan needs a lot of work in that sector.
Mhm.
And other than that, I feel like aside from that, just the way society is over there, the way people are, the way they treat you, like if you commit even a small offense over there, if you even cross a stop sign, they're gonna give you a $300-400 ticket, and nobody wants to pay that. That's a lot of money.
Exactly.
Over here, if you even hit a car, if you like crash into a car, if you break a red light, whatever, you can get away with anything, and because of that, the system gets corrupt over time, right? And over there, obviously, if you're gonna hand out such huge offenses for such small violations, people are gonna they're gonna get their act together over time. They're gonna realize, and that's one of the most important things, right? The way the government and overall society is shaped over there as compared
And the
to
people.
the people.
Basically, I would like to add something here. I was with your father,
Yeah.
Dr. Saab, today, and we visited, entire the defense area here in Karachi. So
Yeah.
we went to the sea view as well. So we saw lots of people who were standing there. People were there in a very huge amount. Like I told your father as well that more than 30,000 people were present there. So it was Sunday, so that's why lots of people were there. But I saw lots of rubbish and garbage there, on the roads and in the plotting areas, in the extension areas. So I asked your father that, you know, if these were the people of Canada, so what would they do? And your father said that, the people of Canada, they are so much educated that even little children of Canada, little Canadians, they, even when they are 3 years old or 4 years old, so when they saw wrappers or garbage, they're on the roads or on the footpaths or somewhere, so they would pick it up and they would, throw it in the dustbin. So I was really surprised that, mashallah, they are very great. They are very great in terms of manners and in terms of ethics and morals. So what would you like to say that why we Pakistanis, we are not like them, like, the children of there, they are really respectful and they are, morally and ethically, they are taught these things in their houses as well, by their parents as well, and by their teachers as well, and by their society as well. But here in Pakistan, I do not see such things. As you said that in schools, children are not getting trained; they are only getting educated. And at houses, parents are not giving much time to their children. They are not focusing on the studies and on the moral sides and those sides of the children's. And when you look at the society, so society is not that better, which could train children in a better way. So what would you like to say that why people of Canada are very far ahead, are very successful from the people of Pakistan? Why the people of Pakistan are do not know their responsibilities, or they know it but they're not fulfilling their responsibilities? What would you like to say about that? Is it education system, or is it the heavy loans that the heavy what could I say, the
Heavy
government
penalties.
yes, exactly, those things. And if the government is taking care of them, like such things, what do you think?
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you a story about my childhood. I remember back when I was in grade one, maybe kindergarten.
Okay.
In my school, I remember like it was
In Pakistan.
no, in Canada.
Okay, in
Back
Canada.
in grade one,
Okay,
like when I
okay.
was completely young, 6, 7 years old.
Okay.
So I remember back in school, at lunchtime, all the kids would take out their lunchbox. They would take out their juices. They would, take out all their food, whatever
Okay.
they're eating, and they would just be eating. They'd be talking to each other. They'd be,
Okay.
like just like having, being kids, having fun. It's their lunchtime. They do whatever they want to do, play with toys. And I remember, if a kid, if he had a juice with him, and if he finished that juice, if he even left it on the table, I'm not even saying throw it on the floor. I'm talking about leave it on the table for 1 minute. The teacher would come. The teacher would call the student. She would tell him take the lunchbox, throw it inside the dustbin. Then she'd give him a 1 hour detention.
Okay.
And the next day she'd give him a 1 hour detention, and she
Okay.
wouldn't let him go out during lunch. And all his friends would be playing outside during lunch, and he'd be sitting inside the classroom, just like missing out on everything. So I mean, like that's just one of the examples of how they shape children over there, like, from a young age, for handing out such a huge such a huge penalty for such a small little offense, like a 6, 7 year old. Over here, if that was in Pakistan, like do you everything that's gonna happen? Do you everything you're gonna go to a school and the child's gonna throw garbage on the floor, the teacher's gonna give them a detention. They don't care over here. The Masi's gonna come and clean it up. It doesn't matter. They can do whatever they want.
Exactly.
Kids, they get that sense of entitlement that I'm superior. I'm better than this Masi.
Exactly.
My job is to enjoy life. Just to do whatever I want. His job is to clean up after my mess. That sense of entitlement, right? That's where it begins when they're young, and after that, it just builds on. The next day, the Pakistani student, he might even slap a guard. He might get away with it. And he'd be like, because I can do what I want. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, one day he's gonna go out. He's gonna get in a fight. He's gonna maybe take out a gun or like do something really, maybe even a murder students. And there have been cases over here, kids who murder other students in their school. At such a young age, but in their enter O-level life, they get away with it because of their. Because of their entitlement. Some of them are from higher, families and like families with a lot of money and backup. And they get away with it, and the school can't do anything about it. The society doesn't do anything about it. Over there, on the other hand, like I said, you leave a juice box on the table, and you get a 1 hour detention. Okay, and I don't know, you break a red light. You break not a red light. You break a stoplight. You get a $400 fine. Just the way they
$400 or $40?
$400.
$400.
Yeah, just for breaking a stop sign. Over here, you break a traffic light.
Nothing happens.
Nothing happens. No one says anything. The police doesn't even ask you. The police doesn't even look at you. So I mean, that is like I think it's pretty self-explanatory. It's all about how you grow up and how you.
So is it because of the society, the parents, or the teachers?
I think it's because of society as a whole. I mean, I don't see the conditions at home any better. Like over there, at least obviously even over there, not every family is completely disciplined. There are some families who don't take care of their kids, but like when this kid is at school, which is half of his day, more than half of his day, at that time he has to follow the normal, societal norms. He can't mess around because if he messes around, the teacher is gonna punish him. If he messes around outside of school, the police is gonna punish him.
Okay.
So
So you are trying to say that punishment is a better way, to teach the children, to let them know that they must be responsible. Otherwise, many things may happen with them in their life.
that's a
Tough question.
That's a pretty tough question. But I think it is important to
Punish them.
not penalty,
Okay,
give them little penalties, just to teach
Just a
them.
little touch.
Yeah, because I mean, like, if the penalty is heavy enough, they're gonna follow the rule next time, whether they believe it or not,
Okay.
and that does make for a better, more disciplined society overall. Because as you've seen in Pakistan, if you do not, unfortunately, our human, today our modern human species are so under, like so, I would say so corrupt that like if you don't even place these minor penalties, they'll go off and that's why do you think this situation today is so bad? All the racism, all the school shootings happening in the U.S., all the hate crimes happening. It's because humans, when they're not under control, like societies when it's not under control, they tend to they lose control. Like they big things happen. You see all these school shootings happening. You've seen all the people get away with infamous crimes in Pakistan. So I mean, the most important thing is just to instill the belief in them, and one of the best ways to get the child in order is to place minor penalties, and more importantly, explain he'll from that penalty he'll learn what he did wrong, because next time he's not gonna want to do the same thing. He's not gonna want to do the same thing, and he's gonna want to know why. Why am I getting such a huge offense, such a huge penalty for just leaving a juice box on the table? When he grows up, he learns that if I develop this habit from my young age, from my childhood, next thing I know, I'm gonna be committing even bigger offenses, and I'm gonna think it's okay because I'm gonna become conditioned to think that it's okay.
It's okay.
Because I'm not gonna get punished. Whatever I do, I'll get away with it.
Exactly.
So I don't think punishment's the key, but I do think penalties, minor penalties from a young age, increasing gradually for the degree of the offense. It is important in a society.
So, as you said before, that in Pakistan, people are not, ethically or morally trained. Sometimes it happens as well that if a teacher punishes the students or gives them penalty, so the student stands up and he fights with the teacher, or he uses bad language right in front of the teacher, or even slaps him. I've even seen cases like here in Pakistan that a teacher went and just slapped the student right because he was doing wrong, and the student stood up and he slapped the teacher back. So stuff like these happened in Pakistan. So what would you like to say about this?
That's why
Not even in Pakistan, not only in Pakistan, but stuff like these happen all around the subcontinent.
Yeah, that's why I was gonna emphasize on my next point that not only should you punish a person with a penalty or penalty or it's more important to teach them what they did wrong, why was what you did wrong, and the truth is you can teach them all you want. You can have classes on it, but until they don't get that penalty, until they don't get that first dose, they're not going to take it seriously. They're just going to be flying, going through one ear, coming out the other ear. One day when it happens to them, then it's gonna go in that ear. It's gonna stay in that ear. It's gonna go up here. That's what you need to remember. Until you don't get a hit, until you don't get a little bit of a penalty, until you don't get hit by the whatever you won't take it seriously.
Got it. So let's come to a serious question. Were you happy in Canada and Pakistan? Pakistan.
I was definitely happier in Canada, seeing as I grew up over there.
Okay.
That's where
and what is the reason for it?
Well, the main reason would be because I grew up over there, and that's basically where that's where I spent my childhood. That's where I grew to be the person that I am.
Okay. So do you want to go back to Canada, or you want to stay in Pakistan?
Well, honestly, like for long term, I haven't. It's not like I want to stay in one place particularly. Maybe I'd want to go to Canada. Maybe I'd want to go to America. Maybe at one point I'd want to come back to Pakistan. When I get older, maybe when I'm 40. So I haven't exactly decided, but I do.